So to be respectful of your time, let's get started on today's program. Thanks again for coming. First though, let's give Robert a big round of applause. Now just a couple of comments. Recently we received the results from our administration of the SENSE, which stands for Survey of Entering Student Engagement from Fall 2012. Some of you participated in that and had your students complete the surveys. Let me take a moment to share with you some of the recent evidence of your hard work that our faculty and staff have accomplished. Now this survey collects information from our entering students to help us improve teaching, learning, and service. I'm pleased to announce to you today that we have received evidence of how we as an institution compare with other community colleges. And this information clearly points to how well our faculty engage students in learning, even in the first weeks of their experience at Durham Tech. Engaged learning is considered an essential, promising practice among high-performing community colleges. The Center for Community College Student Engagement states the following regarding this component of student success. Instructional approaches that foster engaged learning are critical for student success. Because most community college students attend college part-time, and most also must find ways to balance their studies with work and family responsibilities, the most effective learning experiences will be those the college intentionally designs. I'm proud to announce that Durham Tech received high scores due to the committed and dedicated work of our faculty in the area of engaged learning. Listen to this. 79% of Durham Tech Community College, when compared with 68% of students in the entire cohort of students from the SENSE colleges across the nation, indicate that they strongly agree that our instructors clearly explain academic and student support services available at Durham Tech. Next point, 80% of our students, compared to 78% of that cohort, indicated that they work with other students on a project or assignment during class. Next, 69% of our students, compared to 63% of the cohort, indicated that they use an electronic tool to communicate with the instructor about coursework. 73% of Durham Tech students, compared to 67% of the cohort, indicated they discussed an assignment or a grade with an instructor. And finally, 83% of our students, when compared to 76% of the cohort, asked for help from an instructor regarding questions or problems related to class. Thank you, faculty. It's clear that you engage all students in what matters most, learning. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'm also proud to announce that Durham Tech has evidenced significant gains due to the hard work of staff. For example, in 2008, our SENSE data indicated that only 1.3, yes really just a little over 1%, of our entering students attended an essential college orientation. Today, I'm glad to announce that this past fall, our data indicate that 77% of all entering students attended our orientation program. And since not every student is required to attend our orientation, this evidence suggests that we have successfully implemented to full scale an essential component of our first year experience. Thank you, faculty and staff, for your hard work to ensure our student success. Again.
magic here. So we are entering the time of the academic year where we celebrate our students' accomplishments and prepare for commencement festivities. And I'll talk a bit more about that later in my remarks. But during the celebration, it's equally important to recognize those who have been pivotal in helping our students achieve their dreams of a college degree and a successful transfer to a senior institution. Dr. Evans has talked for a bit in big scale terms about some of the successes. But it's with great pleasure that today I recognize those faculty and staff who've been named to receive the 2013 Excellence in Teaching, Excellence in Support Services, and Excellence in Community Engagement Awards. I'll begin with our 2013 Excellence in Teaching Award recipient, Teresa Fine-Pawsey. Is the 26th recipient of the Excellence in Teaching Award. She began her work here at Durham Tech as a part-time instructor, teaching developmental English and English 111 courses, offering adjunct instructor workshops through the Teaching and Learning Center, and attending professional development workshops on her own time. Her excellence in the classroom and devotion to her work were quickly realized, and she became a full-time member of the Durham Tech faculty in 2008. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly marks Teresa as an excellent instructor because there are so many things that she does for her students that cannot be quantitatively measured. The degree of thought that goes into her course development, for example, is admirable. When asked to develop a concept for the new Humanities 212 capstone course, her desire to make the course as meaningful and interesting for students as possible led her to develop the visual literacy and the graphic novel, a course students are excited to take and rave about once it's over. She also encourages students to engage with each other and the outside world in unique ways that allow them to discover different perspectives. For example, as part of the American Lit 2 course assignment, Teresa took students to visit a Picasso exhibit at the National Museum to interact with the art and make connections between the art and the literature that they were reading in class, allowing students to synthesize material across disciplines. Teresa also makes a point to add case studies or real-world application aspects to her assignments so that students can see a direct relationship between school and life. These types of innovations in the classroom are the mark of a truly excellent instructor. Teresa's excellence does not stop with her work in the classroom, however. Outside the classroom, she's an asset to our campus community. She serves as the faculty advisor for Spectrum, Durham Tech's club for LGBTQ students. She has done countless TLC presentations to share her work with her colleagues, has volunteered to lead one of Durham Tech's first ever CLIP research groups, which is Communities of Learning, Inquiry, and Practice. She has worked with colleagues to develop programs that enhance our community experience. She served as chair of faculty council, served in the TLC advisory committee, has represented Durham Tech as a presenter at several state and national conferences. Teresa is described by her peers as having, quote, boundless energy and being fearless in her approach to using new techniques in the classroom and being a first-rate critical thinker. Her students describe her as being engaging, and always encouraging us to think outside the box, and able to identify in me something that could be developed. These descriptions skim only the surface of the passion Teresa brings to her work. Unfortunately, there's not enough time to cover the multitude of reasons that Teresa Fine-Pawsey is this year's recipient of the Excellence in Teaching Award, but it's with great pleasure that I present it to her with this plaque and check for her excellence in and outside the classroom. Please join me in honoring Teresa Fine-Pawsey at this time. Excellence in Support Services Award at Durham Tech is an award presented to non-faculty employees who promote excellence, innovation, and dedication in service to the students and the larger community of Durham Technical Community College. The award acknowledges those employees whose contributions are of sufficient magnitude to be recognized by their peers, supervisors, and subordinates. This year's recipient is dedicated to serving Durham Tech students, faculty, and staff. She always arrives early and is willing to work whenever and wherever she is needed. Due to a vacant position at the Orange County campus, she has been working both on the main campus and at Orange County for 4.5 years, 2 to 3 days a week at each place. She takes books and DVDs back and forth from Maine to the Orange County campus for cataloging. In the 2011 fiscal year, she cataloged 2,862 books and DVDs, approximately. In the 2012 fiscal year, she cataloged and processed approximately 4,894 books and DVDs. She also orders approximately all library materials and supplies for 3 campus libraries, maintains accurate records of funds, and processes all invoices. In addition to this year's recipient is proactive about personally carrying materials between the 2 campuses, allowing students and staff to get needed items more quickly. For example, she brings books requested by students and supplies for staff from Maine to Orange County campus. If there's a way for her to better serve her patrons, this year's recipient goes out of her way to help make it happen. Many classes at Orange County campus are held at night, after the library is closed at 6 p.m. But those classes can always count on this year's award recipient. Frequently, she arranges instruction in classes for classes after hours so students can learn to take advantage of the library's resources. 2 years ago, our recipient volunteered to serve as an advisor for business administration students, even though she was already working 2 jobs at 2 different locations. She now has 77 assigned advisees. This year's recipient is also innovative. As a result of budget cuts in the North Carolina Community College System Office, there are only 1.5 positions dedicated to library services. With this shortage of staff at the system level, cataloging procedures have frequently changed in the past few years to save time. Our recipient has adapted quickly to several new work forms in the past year, even when it meant more effort for her. This year's recipient has helped staff the Durham Tech table for Hillsborough Hog Day and Chapel Hills Festival, as well as participating on the Durham Tech team for the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life in Orange County. She crocheted 20 blankets for Project Linus and donated new items to the Orange County campus clothing drive. She has volunteered with projects from the MLK celebrations. She was part of the Big Read Planning Committee and organized the Big Read event at the Orange County campus in 2008. Our recipient has an enormous heart. When she sees a need, she's the first to meet it. She's an excellent listener who focuses on others and is quick to offer her assistance with no thought of return. She always volunteers to make a cake, bring a card for someone's birthday or some other special event. She always cooks for a potluck lunch. She always volunteers to come early or stay late to cover when other staff members are absent. This year's recipient is an exceptionally productive staff member. In addition to working 2 jobs, she multitasks by processing library materials while working at the front desk. In addition, she regularly offers library instruction, carefully tailoring her presentation to individual classes. She is the Orange County campus's first line of defense when computers fail. She keeps printers and copiers running smoothly. She is methodical and a stickler for detail. She provides excellent customer service to students, faculty, and staff in the library. Overall, her excellence lies in her ability to do so very much, so very well. I'm, by the way, married to a librarian, and this person is a great librarian. For these many reasons, and I'm sure more, I'm pleased to announce the 2013 Excellence in Support Services Award goes to Mary Kennery.
you.
Thank you very much.
Last but not least, the 2013 Excellence in Community Engagement Award. The annual Excellence in Community Engagement Award is bestowed upon the employee demonstrating exemplary leadership and dedication to serving the community. Qualifying activities can include participating in, developing, or promoting volunteerism, service leadership, campus outreach, community service, civic participation, and service learning. The recipient receives a plaque, designated parking space, and a monetary award. This year's Excellence in Community Engagement recipient has modeled excellence in community engagement through several different roles. As an individual, this year's recipient has delivered over 7,000 books as a volunteer with Book Harvest, which provides new and gently used children's books to children who would not otherwise have their own. Weekly, the recipient shuttles about 350 books to a local clinic, where she's become known as that book lady. Through her innovative program outreach, this year's recipient has coordinated one-day and multi-week trainings for over 230 area parents to learn to support their children's education and to minimize gaps in knowledge of the U.S. educational system, especially around college planning and financing. After securing grant funding for the project, she and her team built new relationships and enhanced existing partnerships with 9 schools in all 3 of the school systems in Durham Tech service area to provide this critical training. Additionally, the recipient incorporated service into a recent visit from the Toyama College of Foreign Languages in Japan. Inspired by a student's idea to provide activities for children staying at the Ronald McDonald House while undergoing medical treatments, she organized an activity with these international visitors that not only provided 40 craft kits, but also allowed the international visitors to learn about the Ronald McDonald House and its role in the city of Madison. Finally, as club advisor, this year's recipient has promoted service within students in the International Students Club. After participation in several Habitat for Humanity and campus service events, the recipient encouraged and supported the club in collecting books for a worldwide book drive, which distributes books to domestic and international literacy organizations. She challenged students to collect 400 books. In March 2013, the International Students Club received the organization's Gold Award for the number of books collected, 1,600, 4 times the initial goal. This year's recipient said that she thinks of herself both as a participant and a promoter of service, and enjoys service because of its sense of accomplishment. She says, quote, "Even though my job at Durham Tech provides a valuable service to the community on a day-to-day basis, it is overwhelmingly administrative, and it takes time to see the results of our work. But with service, I really feel like I did something that day. I feel a sense of immediate accomplishment," unquote. She credits her dedication to service with finding the best activity to fit her interests. Quote, "In my case, the difference between thinking about serving and actually serving came right down to finding the right opportunity." So please join me in congratulating Karen Abel, program director.
I just want to take a second to thank everyone who donated books to the International Students Club's book drive. And there were a lot of you. And thanks to Nora for helping me ship everything.
on our transition from Blackboard to Sakai. So I hope that already everyone knows we are in the midst of a transition from Blackboard to Sakai. So everybody got that? We started back in the summer and laid plans and timelines to complete and wrap up things by December of this year, and we're on track to do that. So you can see it's about an 18-month transition, and we've got exactly 8 months, not approximately, exactly 8 months to go. So the end result should be that by January of 2014, the start of January, all of our instructors who use the LMS will be using Sakai, and Blackboard can just sort of go away. That's the goal. And we are on track. When we started this process, we estimated that we had about 350 instructors to train. And that was based on the 12-month period before the transition began, the number of unique individuals, instructors who use Sakai, Blackboard, excuse me. And that's mostly our curriculum instructors, but there are significant but smaller numbers of Con Ed, adult ed, and ESL instructors who also use the LMS. So we knew we had to train these 350 people, and we came up with what would be the minimum training requirement, which is completion of one workshop, Intro to Sakai. It doesn't teach you everything you need to know, but it gives you a good basis for moving forward and for getting started. There are advanced workshops that you can take after this, but this is what's required to use Sakai. So we've been making very good progress. In the summer, we trained, or 21 instructors were trained. We had a vendor come in for the kickoff. And during the fall, my group trained 84 instructors. And then this spring semester, we've had 68 folks complete the Intro to Sakai. We have a training blitz starting next week and the following week. And we have 55 folks signed up for the Intro to Sakai for the next 2 weeks. And that will leave approximately 122 folks who still need training. So if you're those folks, listen up. Here are some opportunities for you. So as I mentioned, we do have some workshops going on next week and the next. They've been very popular and they're almost full, but there are a few slots available at this moment in one of the workshops, which is on Tuesday, May 14th in the afternoon. My group has been hard at work developing an online version of the Intro to Sakai workshop. We're trying really hard to see if we can get that done by June 1st, so soon, and over this starting in summer, you'll have the option of completing an online version of the workshop, which is self-paced. We will be offering workshops throughout the summer, and we don't have that schedule quite ready yet, but it should be ready by the end of the week, and then throughout the fall. So those will be your opportunities to get trained and to get on board with Sakai. So if you're feeling apprehension about those of you who've used Blackboard about leaving a product that you know and moving all your content over to this unknown product, then you are in good company. I think everyone, pretty much myself included, has felt some apprehension at the beginning. Oh, I forgot to mention that registration is required for workshops, and it's easy to register. You just go to the Durham Tech website, click on faculty and staff, and then on the next page, in the middle, there'll be a link to Sakai training. So if you go there now, when you leave, you'll just see our main workshops, which are mostly full. But if you visit by the end of the week or start next week, you should see the summer workshops as well. So, wanted to pass along for those who may be feeling some apprehension, some encouragement from instructors who have made the switch. So, I received this comment unsolicited from Sue Chang, who wrote me to tell me that it was going pretty well in her area and that she was pleasantly surprised at the ease of switching over. And Dorothy Wood told me that she admitted that she did have fear in getting started, but that for her it turned out to be an easy transition, and she finds Sakai to be intuitive and well organized. And best of all, she has not heard a single protest from students, and so I liked that, the bit about students. And Marina Del Vecchio provided told us that what she likes about Sakai is it has several student-centered interactive tools that Blackboard didn't have, and she's utilized those, the blogs and wikis, with her students, allowing them to do creative projects, and has been pleased, and the students have enjoyed them. So, so take heart if you're concerned. It's doable. We did an informal, very informal, not scientific survey of our students a couple weeks ago and got some feedback from them about what they think about Sakai. And several students commented on its ease of use and liked that they can access it on their mobile devices. Again, another student commented on its user friendliness and really liked the calendar tool. We've heard that quite a few times. Calendar tool in Sakai is much better than Blackboard's. And this student commented on the forums, the discussion boards being easier, and the grades being much easier to understand. The gradebook is one of my favorite tools. So I wanted to point out that we have some helpers spread amongst us across campus, folks who've been involved with Sakai from the beginning or even before we selected it. And these folks are available as a resource to you if you have a question or get stuck or just want to have a little consultation with someone. So look at the list and think about, who's in your area or near you, and feel free to call on these folks for help. And then also, my team is listed here. We are always available to help. I want to give a shout out to these folks because in fall and spring semester as a group, they taught 47 workshops. It was 112 hours of training, and we had 352 attendees. So that, in addition to countless behind-the-scenes things that are required to get something like this off the ground and keep it running day to day. So. Free though to call on any of us if we can answer questions for you about Sakai.
Everyone, my name is Robert Hale. I'm glad to be back again this year for your open enrollment benefits. You see me about this time of year every year. This is your open enrollment, and this is the only time of year you are allowed to make changes to your benefits plan. So we come again about this time of year every year. We print up these booklets. This outlines everything that's available to you. Most of you got one on the way in. If you didn't, you can pick one up on the way out. We're going to be here all week next week, meeting with folks individually. There are sign-up sheets out on the table right outside the door. You can stop by, sign up for a time to see us on your way out, or you can call the Human Resources office this week to get your name on the list to be seen. So we'll be here from Monday through Friday next week. What I'm going to do today is just go through the booklet, well, really just page 2 in the booklet very quickly with you. Just go down the table of contents and tell you what's available this year, what's changed from last year. At the top of page 2, it starts off with your pre-tax benefits. And the advantage of being able to pre-tax most of these benefits is that the cost is drafted out of your paycheck on a pre-tax basis. So with state, federal, all the taxes that comes out of your check every month, you save roughly 30% by being able to pre-tax these different plans. Things like dental coverage, vision coverage, cancer policies. So going through the pre-tax benefits, first of all, the flexible spending account. This is where you can have money taken out of your paycheck on a pre-tax basis for out-of-pocket medical expenses that you have during the year. Most of us don't have enough medical expenses to be able to itemize on our taxes and take a tax write-off. So this is a way that you can basically tax exempt your out-of-pocket medical cost, is by funneling the money through this spending account. Really, you're just moving money around to avoid paying taxes on that money that you're having to spend on out-of-pocket medical bills. And you can use this account for your expenses as well as your spouse and children. They do not have to be on your health plan, your state major medical plan. This is a tax benefit. It's really just all about the way you file your taxes. So again, you can use the account for yourself as well as spouse and children. The way the account works is you come up with how much money you would like to have in the account. And the school funds the account for you. They go ahead and put the full amount in the account at the beginning of your plan year, which your plan year starts July 1st. They issue you a credit card that's key to your account. So when you go to the pharmacy, the doctor, the dentist, you just use the card to pay bills with. And every time you use that card, you're pulling the money out of your spending account. So it's very user-friendly, very easy to use. You just keep spending your money until you spend it all. And it is important, that you spend all your money every year. This is the money in your flex spending account. The money, they do not allow you to roll it over to the next plan year, and they don't refund money back to you. So you just have to be careful with it and not put more money in that account than you feel confident you'll spend. And you definitely want to spend it all every year because you don't want to lose any money. So the hardest part is coming up with how much money to put in the account. There's a worksheet in the book that you can use to add up all your expenses, see if it even makes sense for you to put money in this account. Some folks don't have a lot of medical bills and they don't feel like they need this. But if you take any prescription medications on a regular basis, You know, if you know you go to the doctor a couple of times a year, maybe you go to a specialist. You know, I think that's a $70 or $80 copay now. Children that have braces, you can funnel the money through this account to make payments on those braces. Those are the kind of things people put money in the account for. The maximum you can put in the healthcare account now is $2,500. And that is down, but that is due to the healthcare legislation. They've changed a lot of the rules with the spending accounts. So the maximum per year now is $2,500. There is no minimum. Everybody's different. It just depends on what your expenses are, how much you feel like you need to have in the account. But remember, you can use it for yourself as well as spouse and children. If you sign up for this new, you will receive the credit card in the mail that's keyed to your account. It works just like a credit card does, and you just swipe it just like you would normally, and it pulls the money right out of your account. Once you've spent all your money in the account, do not throw your card away, because they'll load your account back up for the next plan year if you want to continue the account. Keep the same account number, same card. So don't throw that card away from year to year. So that is healthcare spending. There's a separate account for daycare expenses. If you have children in daycare, you can put up to $5,000 in a daycare spending account. And the spending accounts are the only plan that you have to sign back up for every year. Everything else renews automatically. But the spending accounts, you have got to sign back up for those from year to year. So you've got to come in and see me to do that. There's also information in the booklet how to go online and sign up for the flex spending accounts now. But we'll be here all next week, so I encourage you to come in, let us do it for you. But those are spending accounts. Everything else in the booklet renews automatically. If you have any of these plans, you don't need to make any changes. You don't really need to do anything. Cancer benefit, that's the first supplemental insurance plan you get to going down the list. That continues to be probably the most popular supplemental insurance plan available. More people have this than probably anything else. And I think the reason we have so much interest in the cancer coverage is just due to the fact that the cost of treating cancer is so expensive. And there are lots of things that aren't covered by major medical plans. In fact, the American Cancer Society estimates that 62% of the cost associated with treating cancer is not covered by major medical. So again, that's why we have a lot of interest in the cancer policy. One thing it does every year for you is it pays for you to have a screening test done, which Blue Cross covers that, but Colonial will also pay you for doing a screening. Colonial always pays directly to you, and they pay you regardless of any other coverage that you have. So you always want to file a claim with Colonial, even if you have 100% coverage with your Blue Cross plan. You'll still get money back from Colonial. So getting back to the screenings every year, pap smear, mammogram for the ladies, for men, PSA blood test, any type of screening, cancer screening, you pick up the phone, call that into Colonial, and they'll send you back up to $125 for doing a screening test. And that's just one of the benefits included with the cancer coverage. It's outlined in the booklet, so please feel free to read through that if you do have an interest in the cancer policy. It's one of the pre-tax plans. You get that money back for doing your screening every year. That gets your cost down to be very affordable. So it's a very affordable policy. It will pay thousands of dollars to you if you do ever have a claim on it. The next thing in the book is medical bridge or hospital confinement coverage. This has been a very popular plan over the past couple of years just because most of the groups I go to, their deductibles keep going up and their co-pays keep going up, and that's what this plan is designed for. It's primarily for hospital-related expenses, but that's where you have your biggest deductible and co-pay that you have to meet with your major medical. The way the medical bridge plan works, if you're admitted overnight into the hospital for any reason, it pays up to $1,500 to you for one night stay. It's just a lump sum benefit. If you have an outpatient procedure done, but you don't have to spend the night, which is the way most everything's done now, it will still pay up to $1,500 to you. So it pays full benefits whether it's overnight or something outpatient, and it's all designed to cover those deductibles and co-pays that you have with your Blue Cross coverage. So that's medical bridge. Dental insurance is the next thing you see going down the list. Of course, your dental coverage for you, the employee, is paid for by the school, but then you can elect to purchase additional coverage for family members. It will renew automatically if you already have the coverage. It covers you for an exam and a cleaning once every 6 months. It covers basic procedures at 80%, then major procedures at 50%. And again, there's more information in the book about the dental plan, but that will renew automatically. The vision plan, there are some changes to the vision plan this year. First of all, there is a rate change, so you will notice a little bit of difference in the rate, but the benefits have actually improved. Some of the benefits have actually gone up quite a bit. Your frame benefit that you're allowed every other year has gone from $100 to $150. So they'll allow up to $150 towards frames now. The contact lens benefit has gone from $120 up to $150. There are some enhancements to the vision plan now. But if you do already have it, it's going to renew automatically, with the new enhancements. So those are your pre-tax benefits. Going down to about the middle of the page, you see your post-tax benefits. The reason they don't pre-tax these particular plans is because you would have to pay taxes on the claim. And that is definitely not in your best interest, so that's why we don't pre-tax everything. But disability benefit, that's the first one you see there. This is paycheck insurance. This covers your income. If something were to happen to you, you have an accident, you're sick, you have to be out of work for a period of time, this will pay you for the days you're out of work. It covers you on the job as well as off, so you're covered 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. That makes any difference where you are, what you're doing. Colonial pays directly to you again, so if you have sick days you're using, if you have some type of accident here at work and you have a workers' comp claim, still file with Colonial because they're still going to pay you. The disability benefit also includes a little bit of accident coverage, a little bit of hospital protection, and some life insurance with it. So all that's part of the disability plan. And this year they're offering the disability coverage guaranteed issue, which means anybody wants it can get it. There's no health questions asked. So it's automatic approval on the disability plan this year. So that's something special they're doing with disability coverage. Disability plan is also a very good plan for maternity benefits. We have a lot of folks that sign up for it just for the maternity benefits. Accident coverage is the next thing you see in the book. This plan was really more designed for spouses and for children. The disability coverage, if you have that on yourself, you already have accident coverage. So you're covered for accidents. But you can add coverage for a spouse. Again, covers on and off the job. There's also a way we can add disability protection for a spouse through the accident plan. Your spouse does not have any disability coverage. It's also a plan that's very popular with folks that have children that are active or play sports. It will cover organized sports, which a lot of accident plans exclude. So that is accident coverage. Critical illness coverage is the next thing you see. This covers you for a list of several different critical illnesses. A lot of people think of heart attack and stroke as the main ones, but it does cover a lot of different critical illnesses, and all that's listed in the book. This plan works similar to the way life insurance does. You can do up to $100,000 in coverage on yourself. You can do up to $50,000 in coverage on a spouse. And should any of the critical illnesses occur, it pays out the face amount of your policy to you. It's just a lump sum payment. The next thing you see is life insurance, and there are several different types of life insurance available to you. If you do have an interest in some life insurance, I would say just come in, talk to us. We can go over all the different plans. You have term life coverage, individual term life, which you can lock in a rate for 10, 20, up to 30 years. That rate's guaranteed. It will not change on you. Of course, you can cancel it anytime you want to, but you can lock in a rate for up to 30 years. At the end of your initial term, it's guaranteed renewable, but that's when the rate would go up. Universal life and whole life are both whole life policies, which means you can keep them your whole life. There's no term involved. So you lock in a rate when you take those plans out, and those costs don't go up as you get older. You can keep it as long as you want to. Universal life and whole life also build cash value. So as you're paying into those policies, you have cash growing in the policies, and that's money you can pull back out of the policy. In fact, most insurance companies that offer universal and whole life pay out more money in cash value than they do in death benefits, because most people do end up cashing those plans in and get their money back. And then you also have group term life coverage. So there's 4 different types of life insurance available to you. All of the Colonial policies, they're sold on a group basis, but they're not really group policies, they're individual policies. That means you can take those with you if you leave employment with the school for some reason, or if you retire, you can keep your Colonial policies at the same rates. Nothing changes with the policies. So that's another benefit to the Colonial programs. Your enrollment period down at the bottom of page 2 goes through May 10th. That's next Friday. We're going to be here all next week, the 6th through the 10th, meeting with folks individually. The sign-up sheet is outside on the table there, so if you want to sign up for a time to come see us, please do. You can call Human Resources this week as well to set up a time through Human Resources. And then we're going to be in the Foundation office as well as room 46 next week. So if you do sign up for a time to see us, just make a note of which room you're supposed to come to. All right? Thank you all very much.
Kathy McKinley sends her regrets for not being able to be with us today, but she asked me to take over for employee recognition, and I was glad to, because it's always a good thing to celebrate some anniversaries and see some new faces. And that's where I actually want to start, is new faces, introduce some new folks to you. We have 4 people joining us, and I hope that they're here. In February, Earl Stenlin joined us. Earl, are you here? Earl is a technical support analyst in ITSD. In March, we had 2 employees join us, both within the same place, and that's the Advising Center. Eliza Murphy. She's probably advising at this point, yeah. And how about Blake? Is Blake also advising? Well, if you see Eliza and Blake, please welcome them to the college at this point. And in April, Greg Miller. Greg is our clinical coordinator and instructor for our EMS program. So welcome, Greg. All right, so also get to announce some recent promotions and interim appointments at this point. Donna Austin. Donna, are you here? Are you also advising? She's advising. It's a registration period. Donna has been promoted to academic advisor, career and technical programs. Congratulations, Donna. Michelle Jordan. Michelle, stand up. Program Director for Corporate Education. Mary Moore. Mary, are you here as well? Mary. That's an interim appointment for Program Director for HRD. Beth Payne. Are you with us, Beth? Beth is now Dean of Corporate Education. Congratulations, Beth. Lisa Inman. Lisa, are you here? She's out sick today. Got the same cold. Lisa is appointed interim dean, student development and sport. I know that Kaylee's here because she's told me that all the advisors are back in the advising office. Kaylee has been appointed interim assistant dean for enrollment management. And continuing with advising, Shayna. Shayna, are you here? She's also advising. That's right. Students are important. And I bet Gyro is sick as well. All right. Both Shayna and Gyro have been, are now academic advisors in the advising centers. So congratulations. So I'm going to ask Dr. Ingram to join me on the stage for that. It's the 5-year. All right, so we have 3 employees that are celebrating 5 years with us. I'm gonna call all 3 and have you come up to the stage at one time, and then I'll say Karen Jackson, Odell Hill, and Rick Lawrence. Karen is our Director of Center for Academic Excellence. Odell has probably worked on your computer, as a PC technician. Rick Lawrence is an instructor in our architectural technology program. Congratulations. Got 5 people celebrating 10 years of employment at Durham Tech. I'm going to again just call all 5 of them to the stage, if I will. Don Wheeler, Emerciano Alejo, Linda Miles, Cindy Harden, and Joy Hansen. Did I call Linda? Linda's not here, probably. Great. Don is our senior maintenance technician, electrician. Emerciana, housekeeper and facility services. Cindy, and practical nursing instructor, and Joy, instructor of nursing. We have 1 individual with 20 years of service, 20 years. Ward, are you here? Ward Taylor. Or releasing, he's teaching, of all things. He's been doing it for 20 years. Please give a round of applause for Ward.
Well, hello again. Before I begin with my remarks, I'd ask you to join me for a moment of remembrance for our colleague, Dr. Gary Snyder. Those of you who knew Gary well will remember him as a dedicated teacher, a person with good humor and quiet confidence, and someone who was always willing to step up and step in, whether teaching psychology, coordinating our efforts at Blue Cross Blue Shield, or providing advice and counsel to his fellow veterans. Gary died quite tragically and unexpectedly on April 7th. So please join me in a moment of silence to remember him and his widow, Jennifer. Thank you. As I said earlier, this is a really exciting time. Certainly an exciting time for me as we reach the end of another academic year. I want to again acknowledge Karen Abel, Mary Kennery, and Teresa Fine-Posse as the recipients of our Outstanding Service, Outstanding Support, and Outstanding Instructor Awards, and thank those who nominated them for these awards. Next week, we'll be recognizing students at the second annual Student Senate Award Banquet. We'll be joined by Dr. Tom Houlihan from the North Carolina State Board of Community Colleges, who will recognize our Academic Excellence recipient this year. Later this month, we'll also be honoring students at the ASUT Student Recognition Night. That's actually later this week. And the Associate Degree Nurses will have their annual pinning ceremony in a couple of weeks. Graduates of our middle college high school will be recognized at their commencement ceremony later this month. There are other activities involving our students as well, but I mentioned those three in particular. And of course, we'll come together again on Wednesday, May 29th for 52nd annual commencement exercises at the Durham Performing Arts Center. The Honorable Michael Denning, District Court Judge from Wake County, will be our commencement speaker. Judge Denning is a Marine Corps veteran, a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill and the Campbell School of Law, and is also a graduate of Durham Tech. This year we'll also be joined by Imam Abdullah Antepli, who is the Muslim chaplain at Duke University, who has graciously agreed to deliver our invocation and benediction at the ceremony. So it's an exciting time, a time when we are here to recognize the accomplishments of our students and their successes. I want to say a couple words about campus safety and security. Our work continues on implementing the campus improvement plan, which includes enhanced signage and wayfinding, and also the installation of campus-wide notification and emergency communication systems. Both those aspects of the project should be completed by the end of this calendar year. We'll also be soon undertaking another phase of that plan, which is enhancing lighting on the main campus. These are all efforts to improve our campus safety and security. Some of you probably saw the headline in today's Durham Herald-Sun, which makes reference to legislation currently being considered by the General Assembly. If and when that legislation is enacted, it will allow individuals who have permits to carry concealed weapons to bring those weapons to campus, as long as they are inside a locked container inside a locked vehicle. I know this proposal is disturbing to many of us, but I also want you to consider that it's very likely that students, campus visitors, and perhaps even members of our own faculty and staff are doing this now. Almost certainly, there are firearms located inside cars on parking lots on this campus. And unless we start to search every car that drives on our campus, our current policy and current state law cannot be enforced. That said, please be assured that the system office staff and the President's Association is monitoring this legislation very closely, very carefully, and doing what we can to try to exempt community college campuses from this legislation. I just want you to know we're on top of it. And finally, on the topic of safety and security, I want to reflect on the recent events in Boston. I hope you all recognize and appreciate the service our campus police and security officers carry out on our behalf, and the danger they face whenever they put on a uniform. The officer who was killed in Boston was a campus police officer, and he was just doing his job. One of our strategic initiatives is focused on maintaining a safe and welcoming learning environment, and the work of our campus police and public safety department is instrumental in carrying out that initiative. So the next time you see one of our campus safety and security officers, please thank them for the work they do. Now, speaking of strategic initiatives, nearly 5 years ago, we undertook the development of our strategic plan. At that time, we envisioned this document as the college's roadmap for the next decade. Now that we're about halfway through that decade, it's time to reflect on how well we've done in implementing that plan, the extent to which the plan may need to be revised, and what we need to focus on moving forward to ensure that we're using that plan to be an effective institution. Our plan includes 4 guiding principles that address how we carry out our mission effectively and efficiently. One of those guiding principles is creating a culture where all institutional actions are focused on improving student learning and success. Our most recent convocation was the latest in a series of activities focused on that guiding principle. We learned about the Catalyst Initiative, which enhances the opportunities for engagement with new students and brings to scale our orientation activities and college success classes. We talked about Press for Completion, where faculty who teach our gateway courses share ideas about connecting the students and facilitating their successes. We also learned about Completion by Design, a national effort to identify and mitigate circumstances in which students typically lose their way and optimize places where students gain momentum that carries them to successful outcomes. Another of our guiding principles is engaging in integrated and ongoing planning. I'm delighted to report that today, Robert Keeney began his training sessions with members of Executive Council on using WebAdvisor for budget planning and management. I know Robert has been very frustrated not being able to initiate this planning effort more quickly, but we've finally been able to undertake this critical step in linking program planning and budgeting, which has long been a problem here at Durham Tech. Another principle is providing opportunities for continuous improvement of faculty and staff through vigorous professional development. I've heard from many of you in the past several weeks and months asking for a more comprehensive approach to professional development and engagement of all faculty and staff, whether it's more opportunities for supervisory training or improving pedagogy for faculty or more comprehensive orientation for new employees. If we are to be a learning college, we have to embrace the idea of learning for ourselves as much as for our students. This will continue to be an area of importance in the coming year. Last, but certainly not least, is this. One of our guiding principles is embracing a philosophy of continuous improvement by researching best practices and establishing benchmarks for performance. In many ways, this overarches the other guiding principles I just mentioned. We cannot be haphazard in the way we approach our work, but we need to carry it out mindfully and with the idea of always getting better, being at the forefront of our minds. With that in mind, and with the recognition that we're about 5 years into our strategic plan, I've asked Dr. Terry Casa and the Research Evaluation Assessment and Planning team to develop and implement a process to assess the extent to which we have been successful in implementing our strategic plan, what we might need to emphasize going forward, and whether or how we might need to revise that plan so it better reflects our mission and values. Terry and Tina Bryant-Allen have already begun this work with meetings with the President's Leadership Council and with the Administrative Council earlier this spring. Everyone will have an opportunity to participate in this effort. Tomorrow, you will receive a survey asking you about aspects of our strategic plan. Please respond to the survey honestly and promptly. In addition, between now and the beginning of the fall semester, Terry and Tina will be conducting a listening tour to gather more input from you and your colleagues about our processes and procedures. Our next convocation will be Monday, August 12th. We'll be closing the college for public business that morning and holding the convocation at an off-campus location to provide everyone with the opportunity to participate. There, you'll learn the outcomes of the information gathering phase of this effort and participate in several exercises designed to move the college forward in our review and modification of our strategic plan. I hope that you will take every opportunity available to provide your valuable and meaningful insights throughout this very important process. Remembering that as good as we are, we can always get better. As we move forward, you can expect to be asked to participate in a variety of activities, and you'll hear more about these experiences and the results firsthand at our next convocation. With that, thanks to Robert Keeney for sharing his musical talents this afternoon. Thanks to Sims, Melissa Chappell, and the Durham Pet Foundation for the refreshments that will be available in just a couple of minutes after today's meeting. Congratulations again to Karen, Mary, and Teresa, and thanks to those of you who nominated your colleagues for those awards. And finally, and most importantly, I thank you for all the work you do each day. I sincerely appreciate your efforts. But more importantly, our students and our community benefit immeasurably from your dedication and commitment and professionalism. Thank you.
I have 4 very quick announcements. Human Resources will be hosting a health and wellness fair this Thursday, May 2nd from 9 until 1 in the multipurpose room of the Failwind Student Services Center. We have vendors as well as students from Northern Durham's program who are, I understand, giving out free hand massages and aromatherapy facials. Yeah. Please come out and join us. So I want to make sure you were aware of that. Second announcement. I would like to take a moment to remind all faculty and staff of our college's policy and procedures for secondary employment. Secondary employment is defined as compensated work performed for an employer other than Durham Technical Community College. It includes self-employment as well as work performed as an employee or as an independent contractor. It does not include unpaid volunteer efforts or other activities that do not result in direct or indirect benefit to the employee. The procedure for full-time and continuing part-time employees is as follows. Notification that an employee is or is not engaged in secondary employment takes place when the employment contract is signed at the beginning of the employment with the college, and again, annually, with the employee's signing of a new contract. Bless you. That was nice punctuation. I lost my place there. Before engaging in secondary employment, the employee must complete the secondary employment request form to request prior written consent of the president through the supervisory chain and with the endorsements of the direct supervisor, department head, division head, to affirm that engaging in secondary employment will not interfere with the employee's ability to devote proper time and attention to the employee's college assignment. I would remind all faculty and staff that approval must be obtained prior to engaging in secondary employment. Also, if you anticipate that your status might change at some time after or in between your initial or annual contracts, please contact Human Resources to complete a new form as soon as possible. If you have additional questions regarding the college's secondary employment procedures and policies, please contact Human Resources for more information. Third announcement. I would also like to take a moment to remind all faculty and staff of a specific section of the appropriate use policy for the college. which every employee reads and signs prior to receiving access to any computing system. Our policy states that all employees must, quote, use college computing resources for instruction, research, learning, and administrative purposes only. Durham Tech's computers and networks are for uses consistent with the college's mission. They may not be used for outside business projects or personal activities, end quote. On a different note, I would like to invite you to attend the remaining Teaching and Learning Center activities. I'm surprised, Karen, you didn't talk about this one. You're offering so many good things. But there is another opportunity to become a Sakaiger, and that is on Monday, the 13th of the TLC. Backed by popular demand, our instructional and technology staff will facilitate a special edition of Favorite Tech Tools, and the focus is Sakai. On Tuesday the 14th, also at 10 a.m., there will be an interesting webinar presented by Dr. Sandra Yancey McGuire, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Learning and Teaching at LSU, close to my home. On Teach Students to Learn Metacognition is the key. I hope that you'll take advantage of those two offerings. I understand that they are after grades are due, before everybody leaves, so it's a good opportunity to learn. Last but not least, I join Dr. Ingram in thanking you for your attendance today. Please enjoy the refreshments upstairs. Have a good night.